All right, so apparently we got sound issues. Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. How are you? All right, we're gonna start that over. Apparently, nobody could fucking hear it, so let's try this again. Let's see. Hang on 1 second.
Free will not burning.
Right. Okay, we'll try it one more time. Hopefully you can hear it. Of course, you can hear us.
That happens once in a while on this thing.
It does, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect system we have here, kids.
It was a moment of silence before the whole event begins. There we go.
Hey everyone, this is Juliya for Tribute Wars Quarantine, an international band competition brought to you from the isolated comforts of our homes. You can find us on Facebook at Tribute Wars. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the first episode of Tribute Wars Quarantine International Kiss. Because of all of your support, our first episode was a great success. Rock on. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Which rock and roll icon will we all be paying tribute to in episode 2? Here's a little hint, which will be quite the surprise. Did I give it away? Yes. For episode 2 of Tribute Wars Quarantine, we are calling out the best tribute bands in the world for Judas Priest. Bring it on. And now, here's the world premiere of Ellison's take on the classic Judas Priest, Free Will Burning. Check it out. If you want to be part of the show, please visit the link on your screen or the post section on this Facebook page.
There we go.
This is Julia saying goodbye for now.
I guess there is an ending on there.
Woo!
Thank you, Julia.
And
look
the
who
sound being, and yes, the sound being
Echo.
and the sound being messed up is exactly why Charlie Benante and I were talking. Remember, you hit me. You said, "Hey, do you know of any software where you can actually like work together in real time and write songs on the internet?" Right? And that is exactly why. No, there isn't one. Right?
Right. Exactly. just can't happen.
It is the internet. It just can't happen. It just can't happen. So, dudes, what's happening, man?
Hey,
Jericho.
Yes.
Snake,
Thank
what's
you.
the word.
Thanks for having me.
So, Chris, you're in Tampa. Charlie, you're in Chicago-ish. Where are you at, Snake?
I'm in Strong Island.
Strong Island. Nice. Green Bay, Arizona. So here we all
Right.
are. Let's
Where you
jam,
never
dudes.
been on
We are bad. We are nationwide, boys.
Yes, we are.
I saw Charlie
We got a
playing
hell
his
of a
guitar
spread
earlier,
here.
so I got my Kiss lunchbox banjo
Nice.
right here.
Awesome.
So if you guys need to hear any tasty riffs, just let me know.
Throw them out, dude. Throw them out. Too bad I don't have my little cigarette amplifier here. You
It
ever
sounds
see
like a
those
Snake
little-
Sabo solo right there.
Much better.
So
Thom,
Jericho. Oh yes, go ahead, Dave.
What is the purpose of our meeting? You've called us all here together.
I have. I've
on a
summoned you all.
Sunday.
So we're kicking off episode 2 of Tribute Wars, which me and David and Charlie just got done with episode 1, which was Kiss.
Yeah.
And now we've moved on to Judas Priest. So,
We're going down the list. So Tribute Wars is Mistress Juliya, our dear friend for so many years. They have this show that there's an echo there. So whoever is that, Lenny?
that was
When
Mark.
you put him up,
No,
that's
that was
Mark. Okay.
Mark.
Oh, sorry.
Mendoza.
Okay, there's an echo. Okay, I couldn't tell who it was. It was quick. So they do this tribute war. So all these tribute bands from around the world, and they narrow it down, and then they call famous people like us to sort of like be the final caveat. We're the Simon Cowells, if you will, that deem them worthy or not. So last month was Kiss, and there was it Kiss Hungary? There was a band from Hungary, I think.
Yeah.
right? They're the ones
Yeah.
that they won. Yeah.
No,
And then
Mr.
another
Speed
one
from America
Mr.
won.
Speed.
Mr.
Yeah,
Speed,
they were
Mr. Speed.
great.
Okay. There's little details, like how big the amps are. They had like, the Kiss Army video wall. I mean, just awesome stuff, I mean, Kiss tribute bands pretty much have it down to a science now.
Right.
How is the Hungarian band?
Yeah.
The Hungarian band, the thing about them is they were doing a tribute to the new Kiss. And dude,
Yes.
I swear I had to take a couple. I thought it was Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer because it looked just like them.
Yes,
Oh,
it
wow.
was, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's like, you're right. One was a Kiss Alive 2 era, and then the other was that. So now this month being Judas Priest, are we doing the KK Downing era and the new era?
Whatever the hell
And the
people want. I
Richie
have no
Faulkner
idea.
era.
We'll find out.
Question, yeah, I guess
Find
we'll
out.
find out.
Dude,
What
I
they're
hope
doing.
it's the
Or-
Sad Wings of Destiny.
Tim Ripper Owens era or Rob Halford era. I don't know.
I'm going to go with the Rob Halford era on that. I'm pretty sure there's probably, as much as I love Ripper, I'm sure there's not a lot of Ripper era Priest tribute. It would be crazy if there was, maybe.
How about Les Binks, Dave Holland, or Scott Travis?
Les Binks.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
You got to go with
Les.
the classic. It's got to be the classic era, the classic lineup with Dave Holland, I would say.
Yeah,
Holland,
so.
KK, Glenn, Halford, and Ian Hill. Yeah, British Steel.
No.
British Steel.
Okay, so British Steel, Turbo Lover. Okay, there's a lot.
You're going Binks, Snake.
Simon Phillips.
Simon Phillips. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. That's obscure. Good one.
So we did the
They
jam
can
with
only do
KK
songs
Downing.
from Rockarola.
Here's what I learned about that. So talking to
That's
Les
what I was
Binks
thinking.
is that Les and he was one of the session guys around London, along with Simon.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got the call.
Right.
As we may know, right? So that's how we got the call and ended up having the gig for a few years.
You know, Simon, many years ago, Simon told me the story about how he ended up playing on the Judas Priest record. He was in a pub in London. He had a leather jacket on. Some of the Priest guys were in there, and Roger Glover was with them because he was going to produce Sin After Sin.
Oh.
And they saw Simon hanging with someone else with a leather jacket. And turns out he was a drummer, and they started talking, and Simon ended up playing on the record, man.
Because they were hell bent for leather.
They were hell bent for leather.
Nice.
Drummer joke. So,
You know,
Chris, what's going on, buddy? What's happening?
Yeah, I would think for sure, as an esteemed judge on this panel, that realize it's esteemed. I'm esteemed. I can spell it too, Snake, if you want. I think that, I mean, it's up to the bands. I mean, but like you said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of Priest cover bands from the Ripper era or the Richie Faulkner era. There very might well be, though. But I'm looking forward to some good, like you said, that 80 to 90 period and see what's out there.
I tell you, it was so fun doing Free Will Burning. You guys, Fozzy did a cover of Free Will Burning, right?
We did Free Will Burning. We still do it live sometimes if we're playing some covers, like for VIP, or some nights we do a cover set, and that's still one of the funnest songs to sing. But it's also really hard. You better be in good voice, especially for the super quick part. Look before you leap. You know,
look before you leap part. Yeah, I have nightmares about trying to sing that.
Yeah, and sing it live too, and then that with victory point. If you nail it, it's great. And if you're not feeling good, don't even try and attempt it because it's such a hard song to sing. But actually, there's another bit of trivia. The very first song I ever recorded in the studio as a singer was "Riding on the Wind." We did a cover of "Riding on the Wind," and that's where you go from singing in your get and singing in the shower or whatever, and then going into a studio where you're like, "Holy shit, that's what I sound like." I better get into this more, add some balls or whatever it was. And I still, to this day, whenever I hear that song, I always hear like Hetfield, whenever he hears Metal Militia, he hates it. And whenever I hear Riding on the Wind by Fozzy, it's just like, you can tell it's the first song I ever sing in the studio.
So I'll tell you what, last Monday I was coming home from California. I was on a little vacation out there, and I woke up, my tooth hurt. So I came home, went to the dentist, had to go straight to the surgeon, get a root canal, right? So they gave me some Bose headphones. So to my root, I got a root canal to Judas Priest. I listened to British Steel and Firepower. That got me through the root canal, literally.
That should be something you could put on the album sticker. Music to get a root canal by.
Pretty fucking metal, dude. That's how metal Priest is, right? They got me through a root canal.
Hey, Snake, were you at the show, the Defenders of the Faith tour? It was Madison Square Garden, and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest played, and it turned into like a mini riot that night.
Wow.
Where everybody.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I wasn't at that show. I was at the previous tour, the Scream of Vengeance tour, when Maiden.
I was there too.
Yeah, but I wasn't there for the riot. I know what you're talking about.
This specific night, everybody, I don't know why it happened, but there was foam on the seats, and everybody ripped the seats apart, and everybody was throwing the foam around the arena. It was nuts. I'll never forget it, dude.
Are you sure that was Defenders of the Faith, Priest and Maiden? Wouldn't that be earlier? Wasn't that like Point of Entry tour? Or
that was
something?
Screaming for Vengeance or something, wasn't it? Wasn't that Screaming for Vengeance?
No. They were in New York. First time I saw Maiden, it was at the Palladium. They opened up for Priest on the Point of Entry tour.
Right.
This is with Paul Diano.
Yeah.
And then let's fast forward, and then that was a show at the Garden. It was right at the beginning of the Defenders of the Faith tour, and it was violent. I'll never forget that night.
That's cool.
And then we got to recreate that at Clash of the Titans. Remember when we played the Spectrum in Philly? And then there's that pile of chairs at the end, and they handed us the bill for like $40,000. By the way, your fans
you know something?
Chairs.
It's funny. I'll tell you. I'm looking for a piece of paper, but it happened about a handful of times where our tour manager would come back in. He'd show us the bill, and it's like, well, we said something about general admission before the tour, but they didn't go for the general admission. And we said, those chairs are going to come out right away, dude. First band goes on, like it was Alice in Chains, but after Alice in Chains, either one of us went on, and it was just boom, 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 chairs.
We have a picture standing in front of those chairs somewhere. I've noted like in some tour book or something. Clash of the Titans tour books. Great.
Well, Dave, you and I played a show together at Alpine Valley in Wisconsin.
Yes,
remember the outdoor amphitheater, and they were ripping up the lawn and throwing pieces of sod at the stage.
Yes, it was Pantera, Megadeth, and Skid Row. In fact, we were shooting a video that night because Countdown to Extinction was just ready to come out. I think you guys were on Slave to the Grind.
Yep.
And Pantera, I guess it was probably Vulgar Display. I think
just come out with Vulgar, right?
Yeah. Then they went over to Europe with us after that. And it's so funny because I remember hearing. Oh, fuck, what was the song? There's one Pantera song. It was like the only ballad they had. Well, Cemetery Gates. And then there's one other song where like the brutality stopped for periods and they had some vocal. I forgot the name of the song, but I was
This
like.
Love? Was it This Love?
Yeah, This Love. That's right. It's like, wait a minute, there's pauses in the brutality. Yeah. And because I hadn't heard the record yet. I hadn't heard Vulgar yet. And then, of course, after that, I did. That was a great show. You guys were freaking amazing that night.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, you know what? We were so good that we got the bill for that sod being thrown on the stage.
Thank you.
Hey, Skid Row took one for the team.
Yep. Being the headliner has its costs.
Yeah. As you should get the bill for it, dude. It's your fault.
It's your fans. Tell your fans to settle down. No, that was great, man. That's like a bunch of banshees up on the hill and fire burning and sod being thrown at the stage.
Dude, that happened at same thing happened at Clash of Titans.
It was Memorial Day and it was 38 degrees out. I remember.
Yes, it was cold. I remember seeing my breath. In fact, I remember watching the video for it because we filmed Skin of My Teeth at that show. And I remember you can see our breath in the video. That's how friggin' cold it was.
You had Wayne Isham there, right?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Who you know well from all your videos that you
He did 7 of our videos. He's
wow.
one of my favorite people.
Isn't that amazing to think like back in those days there was like video director superstars, and nowadays, especially during the quarantine, we're filming these fucking videos on our iPhones that are getting just as many views as the Wayne Isham, $2 million shoots, and now it costs $100 with DM11 Chuck. It's like tough luck, Wayne. See you later, buddy.
Well, I remember when Nirvana came out and all those big expensive videos were gone. Wayne went over to do like Backstreet Boys videos. We're like real money.
Janet Jackson. He was doing Janet Jackson videos. He had like our budget was like $10 and theirs was like 10 million.
Yeah, right. Fuck these metal guys. Can't make any money over here.
Yeah. Dudes, I gotta bow out quickly because I got some family stuff going on, but I'm really looking forward to being a part of this coalition. And maybe when I pop out, it gives Mendoza a chance to get in here because he's been waiting for a long time to try and get in. I don't know what's going on.
He has a crazy echo every time I put him in, so I had to kick him. And
it could be me. It could be my Canadian vibe that's going out there and causing him to bounce off the walls, right?
As Def Leppard says, it could be you.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Everybody say bye to Jericho.
See you, buddy.
Trying to play. I was trying to play Peace Sells on this, but it's out of tune.
Well, it sounded pretty good. I didn't know that's what you were playing.
That's right.
See you, buddy.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Later, Chris. That's pretty funny, man. I was going to tell you
you're
uh,
right. I remember you're right. At Clash of the Titans, that was another destructive night at Alpine Valley. Yeah.
Alpine Valley. They ripped up. Last night I was watching this Go-Go's documentary, and we were talking about videos just now, and they told the greatest story about their first video for the song Our Lips Are Sealed. They had no budget, and Miles Copeland signed them, who was Stewart's brother. And the police had some money left over from their video. It was like $6,000 or something. And Miles gave it to them. And they did that video for $6,000. It's like, And it was on MTV every 30 minutes. Do you believe that?
Yeah, that was a great documentary.
It was great, yeah.
That's crazy. So it's so funny. So we just did this cover record that Charlie played on, and that Judas Priest cover that we played, that's what that was. But it's so funny. The first cover record I actually remember was fucking Beside Ourselves, man. I remember that Priest cover still to this day. It was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that we've talked about. It's like Skid Row's one of my favorite bands. It was so funny. We were doing that Priest cover. I'm like, dude, I feel like Sebastian Bach right now.
Delivering the goods. When we did that with Rob on MTV, and he was kind enough to come out and just destroy it as he does. And so, from being a Priest fan from like way, way, way back in the day, one of my new wave of British heavy metal discoveries, as well as you guys, I'm sure. To have that moment where he's out and we're like live in front of a lot of people, man, and your chops better be up, that's for sure, because if they're not, man, he's going to give you that look over to the right or the left and be like, come on, boy, pick it up a bit. Yeah. So
I played bass for him at Alice Cooper's Christmas Pudding about 2 years ago. Yeah, and it was great because Slash was there, Ace Frehley, Edgar Winter. I mean, it was just like, it was like my record collection there, And,
wow.
And I remember, and I was looking, I think we're playing like Living After Midnight, and my natural thing would always be to go, I'm like the Michael Anthony guy, right? Play bass, always go up and sing the harmony, right? And it's any harmony there is, I usually just go grab it. But I realized, I go, fuck, I don't know if there is a harmony on this, and I am playing with Rob. So I look at him like, like one of those deer in the head, like, should I? And he goes, yeah, go for it. So I'm all right.
Oh, that's great.
So he encouraged the harmony, and there actually is a harmony on that song. So,
wow.
Everybody talks about like the history of Judas Priest, like when you got into them and everything like that. The first time I ever saw Judas Priest, they opened up for Kiss, and I went home that night going, Priest. I was just like, they just blew me away, man.
That was a Hellbent for Leather record, right?
It was like Hellbent, a live album-y,
right?
Like
Unleashing the East.
Oh, man. They did Exciter.
Last year, me and David did that show in Wolverhampton with KK Downing and Les Binks and Ripper, and it was fucking amazing. It was a lot of that. We wrote in the book about how Unleashed in the East was kind of like David's Priest record, and I love that record.
Mine was Stained Class, I think. Stained Class. When I heard Saints in Hell for the first time, I was like, wow, man, this just flipped the script big time.
Right?
This changed everything, man. And then when they went in that heavy part in the middle, you're down, I'm like, oh, man, there's down picking. Okay.
Like back in those days when you would go to see Judas Priest, there was a kind of like a bit of a violent element with the crowd. Kind of like the thing that Slayer kind of adopted to later on, But yeah, I remember it wasn't that one show, of course, was just so intense. People were just so violent, And it was because of that song, Saints in Hell.
Dude, they had the most taboo titles and lyrics, like just like that. Saints in Hell was like,
Beyond the Realms of Death.
Call for the Priest.
Right, yeah. What song did we play, Thom, that they had never played before? We played it with KK. Was it Beyond the Realms? No, they played Beyond the Realms of Death before. There was one song off of it was off Hellbent for Leather, and they had never played it before. Ever.
Rock Forever.
No, it wasn't that. It's funny, we did play United because I guess they'd played it. Wow. They had actually, the team in Wolverhampton had used that as their like
that was Take on the World, wasn't it?
Was it Take on the World?
It was Take on the World, and we did that in the encore. Me and Ripper sang Take on the World.
That's right, Take on the World. That's right.
Living After Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Take on the World. That the soccer team, and it was like the Wolverhampton anthem basically for their soccer. That whole thing was fucking crazy, man. Like Les Binks is so fucking cool.
Yeah, to play Riding on the Wind, which of course he didn't record that. That was Dave Holland. But to open with that was pretty cool. It's like you were standing there with one of the most legendary drummers of our lifetime, for us growing up in that era. And then you got to hear the whole backstory of what happened on Unleashed in the East, why that was the last record that he played on, which KK actually talks about in his book. I'm looking forward to get Rob's book. I think, is it out yet? I know he's doing some pre-orders on it, so I'm looking forward to picking
I don't know,
up.
but man, that's going to be a great read.
Super cool, man. Super cool. Yeah.
He's such a genuine. There's just something about Rob Halford, because like back when we were all growing up, we looked at this guy as this rock god, and then you kind of meet him for the first time and you go on tour with him, and he's just so cool. Just the nicest, gentlest guy.
I remember when we were on tour with him with Rest in Peace on the Painkiller tour, and my mom and dad came up to the show in St. Paul, the St. Paul Civic Center. And Rob is such a gentleman. And I introduced him, to my mom's, my mother friends. Hello, Francis. And he's just like such a nice English gentleman,
Yeah.
And then goes on stage and becomes the freaking metal god, So,
yeah.
One of the greatest ever, and certainly of our lifetime.
A lot of people can learn a lot from the way that he's treated not only other bands, but just people in general. Like he is, for all the accolades and success that they've had, because they're all really nice guys.
Yeah, they are.
Everyone that I've met has been fantastic, but they treat people, with great respect, and their fans with such reverence, and they're very humble individuals. You could tell that to them, still going on stage at this point in their careers is a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that is a given or anything like that. It's like they still have that feeling like it's an honor to be there. They're very humble human beings, and that taught me a lot at an early age too. And when you're getting bombarded with some sort of any modicum of success, and you're at a young age, it's very, very difficult to sort of navigate that whole tidal wave of what's coming your way. And then all of a sudden you have a guy like Rob Halford walk in the room at MTV Live and go, hi, how you guys doing? And just the most humblest down to earth guy. You're going, now I could take a breath, because this is the way it's supposed to be. And he just taught us so many valuable lessons regarding how to treat people, just how to react in a situation of accolades.
I remember going to see them. Me and Dave and Chris Poland went down to go see them at the LA Sports Arena. So it was on the Turbo tour, right? And Rob had this thing where he would look at people, and you swear he was looking right at you. And then years later, remember when I was in rehab, they taught you, like when you want to talk to somebody and you're scared of them, to look right between their eyes, like kind of right up here on your forehead. Like you're not actually looking them in the eyes. And I'm going, I wonder if Rob knew that little trick. Maybe not from rehab, but maybe from some special ops class or something, right?
Right.
Or you can look right here, and it looks like you're looking at someone in the eyes. But because when you connect with someone's eyes, I don't know about you guys, but on stage, if you connect with someone's eyes on that level, it's easy to kind of, you're connecting directly with somebody's soul. And it's easy to forget lyrics and kind of forget things, because there's like a real soul to soul connection. It's a very strong, those of us who have been on stage. I mean, it's bad enough. I remember we'll be playing like Sweating Bullets or something, and both verses are slightly different. And some kid down front will always be singing the lyric wrong. He'll be singing the second verse, right? And me and Dave always joke, is if we follow along, like we're watching some kid and we're kind of singing along, and then he's singing it wrong, and then we sing it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, if he sings it wrong, if we sing it wrong, not so good to 20,000 people, feeling paranoid, right? And but when you make like a soul connection to someone and really look at them in the eyes, like you can't really lock into somebody's eyeballs too long, because it literally, it'll kind of knock you off your game. And so Halford had this incredible, I remember he would just his thing that he does where he sort of gazes over, like that, like the electric eye, you know what I mean? Where he's gazing across the audience and just kind of zoning right in. And it's cool because made you feel like he was singing right to you, which was, it was very intimidating in a very metal kind of way.
The thing about that band is I always thought of them and AC/DC similar on stage, because the bass players, they had their position. The two guitar players went back and in front, and then the singer was, of course they didn't have Angus, but Priest always had these roles in the band. And Ian Hill, to this day, to me, is just every show, dude, is just 100%, 100%. You know,
So underrated. So underrated.
so underrated.
And you listen to his bass playing again. I'm no bigger Ian Hill fan than me right here, right? And it's so funny, even doing Free Will Burning. And I listened to it because it's funny. I just recorded one of the tracks we're going to do is with a group called Dead by Wednesday, who are sometimes me and Tom's backing band here in the U.S. And they did a really cool version of Eat the Rich. And Crocus brought in Thom Allen, who produced
for that album.
those big hit
Headhunter.
records. Yeah, and yeah. So then they brought him in for Crocus. So the big Headhunter and the big hits that Crocus had, they brought Thom Allen in. In fact, actually, Priest brought Thom in with Andy Sneap to produce the Firepower record. I think he was involved on some level on that. But you could hear the earlier records, like with Simon Phillips and stuff, right? The earlier records, Sad Wings of Destiny, and that, like. Ian's bass playing was much more likened, I think, to like a Jethro Tull record, like very kind of progressive, almost 70s bass playing, you know, kind of early 70s prog bass playing. And then when Thom Allen got involved, they really smoothed his bass playing out to keep it very simple, which was not any indication of Ian's sort of technical abilities, but it spoke huge to his Charlie, you are the best because you and me had this conversation many years ago about bands have roles. Every person has a role, right? And I quote you on that all the time, as my friend Charlie Benante says, because you defined it, man. Everybody's got a role in the band, and that role with Ian to come in, and of course we've all been through this process when you get in the studio with producers. And they, you know, and managers and the label, and suddenly there's songs and ideas and things, and you go, God, but I don't know if I really want to do that. I want to be this guy. And they're like, nope, you need to, you know, people kind of, as producers tend to do, they tend to focus our roles in bands, right? And that's usually, you know, hopefully our biggest records are like that because they've sort of taken the best of who we are and they sort of put it in their lane, if you will. And Ian being one of those guys, you know, where all of a sudden the riffs got bigger, the songs got bigger, and these just big arena rock hits that they had. Of course, AC/DC is very similar, you know, where the bass and drums just lay down this huge floor to build the riffs and then build everything else on top of that.
You could hear him playing much more to the kick drum on British Steel and Point of Entry, especially in a song like on Point of Entry, like Desert Plains. Like he's so locked in to Dave Holland's drum track. Even when Dave starts doing the tom fills and stuff like that, he's just holding it together. Like he is the epitome of glue, especially those two records.
And this is why you guys are the Judas Priest panel for Tribute Wars, because
this is it.
The nerdiest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
You know, it's funny. We were when we were in Nashville. Hey, Julia, what's happening?
Hi,
How are
fellas. How are you?
In fact, we were
Hi,
demoing a song.
Hi.
We were demoing a song as we were writing the Megadeth record last summer, and it was just an idea. And there was kind of this tom fill, and I brought up Desert Plains. I go, you know, on Desert Plains it does right. There's this sort of overdub tom fill, because we're just trying to get the idea down, and Dirk's playing a bunch of ideas and a bunch of different stuff. And I don't even know if that ever made it to the final, but it was a funny moment when you're going, hey, wait a minute, Judas Priest did something like that. Let's go pull it up on YouTube. And we listened to it, you know.
I'm sure they've been our reference, all of our reference points many, many a time. I know. I mean, you know, as diverse as our bands might be, they've been a huge reference point for us from day one.
Yeah,
so,
for Skid Row, totally. Yeah.
I mean, there's no thrash metal without Judas Priest.
No,
none, absolutely not.
See, look what you've done, Julia. We just went off on a
I
freaking
know,
hour-long
like,
Judas Priest tangent here.
I'm completely baffled by this whole show turning out to collect some of my favorite, most incredible artists in the world. And, you know, it's been a long time since I've had that. So I'm very grateful that you are all part of the show. And I think this is the right time. And I think that we could bring back something that really gives people a lot of joy, that gives people a lot of nostalgia for what was, and will hopefully inspire music now that's not as boring, repetitive, and completely mundane.
You said that, not us.
Tell us how you really feel, Julia.
Yeah.
I always do.
That's so funny. We reconnected just a couple of months ago, or if you just during this pandemic, right? Over this show,
Right
Tribute
before,
Wars,
actually.
you're doing. Yeah, right. Well, you're right. It was right before, and then Tribute Wars came in, and you're like, "Oh, I'm working a day job," because I hadn't seen you in a while. When I worked at Peavey back before 2010, I remember you came out to do some of the trade shows, and you were kind of our resident mistress on to come out and hang at the shows, and that was fun, and so it was good to see you again. And then now you're back doing this, which you're back in your rightful place.
I'm very happy because let me tell you, working in finance is not the most exciting thing, but girls got to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
So when this opportunity came up, obviously I thought of you first because I think you're, well, first of all, you and I, like you said, just reconnected. And also we had quite a few conversations when we were working at PV. And besides being a rock star and everything, you're extremely articulate and intelligent and, also really, not just like party rock and roll kind of person. So I thought it would be, a perfect chance to involve you. And then with your assistance and Tom's assistance, we got all these wonderful other people. I got Charlie over here. Then I found out Snake was involved. I was like, fuck yeah. So it's looking, and then thank you. For me, after, my show ended, Uranium, I think wrapped up, I believe a little bit over 10 years ago. So to have a chance to bring back the kind of rock and roll and the kind of heavy metal that I grew up on and have the ultimate respect for that the young people now don't even really know about because everybody's attention span is about this freaking big and the music on the radio or on YouTube or whatever it is kind of shit. So I'm really, really excited and kind of to see my favorite bands reinvigorated, reinvented, and to have you guys involved is really, to me, everything, to be honest with you, because I've been dying from boredom of lack of stimulation of music and talent.
Well, what's funny is we had Thom and I literally like probably 6, maybe 7 weeks ago, we just had this idea to do this covers record. And we, as we're going through it, we were talking about this episode coming up for Tribute Wars with Judas Priest. And Thom goes, we should really do a Judas Priest song. And that's when Free Will Burning came up. So like, Charlie, I think Thom and Charlie were having a conversation and we were all just kind of sitting around a little bored, frustrated, trying to get stuff going. So Charlie jumped in and played a couple of tracks and that's just how this whole thing happened. Everything just popped in. It was like, sure, I'll play in some tracks. And, and literally within 6 weeks, we just almost finished mixing on Friday. Actually, we're going to mix.
Yeah, we did like 18 songs in like
18 songs. And we thought like, 4 or 5 songs. We'll do a little EP, whatever. We'll, just put something out. Now we got like 18 songs done.
Oh, wow. It's awesome.
Yeah.
If this COVID thing has given I always said there are silver linings in this thing, even though it's 80% crap, but there are silver linings in it. And like, hey, I built a studio again, a smaller studio, and I could do these tracks. I could do anything. Someone calls me up, hey, could you play drums on this? I'm like, yeah, sure, I could do it.
And you did, yeah. And you did, yeah. So Juliya, we basically did this song for you. I mean, and we were kind of holding it back. Yeah, we did this song for you. So here's your soundtrack.
and you're right, Phil. I think it was before the dawn.
I don't know what to say. I'm like really flattered now.
Well, you're our special sister here in the metal community. So,
but yeah, literally, the Judas Priest song literally came from. I was on the phone with Lenny and we were talking, and I said somehow Judas Priest came up, and I was like, God, we're not doing a Priest song. Maybe we should. And literally, we did that because of Tribute Wars. We were like, it was just kind of weird that we didn't do one. And then I was talking to Lenny. I'm like, why don't? And I called Dave, so we went and did Free Will Burning. So, and it turned out awesome.
It's killed.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, guys. Like, I mean, for me, it's like, again, I feel 19 again, even though I'm not. But when I started, meeting all of you guys and meeting my idols and interviewing and really getting to know, how people play and create music and how magical it all is. When it all ended, I was rather sad, and I guess I wish I was more sober through a lot of the time so I could remember some more. But now as an adult, I think I'm more grateful than ever for this opportunity, and I'm very, very happy you guys are involved. And the fact that you did something just especially for this show means
course.
means the world to me. And I really think, as Charlie said, the silver lining is that, unfortunately tours are canceled and people are losing their shit. People are sitting at home bored and lonely and not knowing what to do and how to exert their energy and how to exert their joy or grief or anxiety. And I think that this show, honoring the greatest bands that there were, with you guys as judges, some of the most famous musicians in the world, I think is really going to make people so very happy.
Hey, so for our fans and everybody that's checking in here on the Facebook and YouTube and everything, is there a link anywhere they should go, need to go to check in with Tribute Wars? And did you have dates, times, and all that kind of stuff?
So on Facebook, it's Tribute Wars 1, the number 1, Tribute Wars, the number 1. In regards to when the episode drops, that's something that Thom and Lenny can advise. I'm not. I was not advised to give out.
I don't think we've quite figured that out yet. So
okay, no worries. I don't know either. I'm just asking. I'm just a judge. What do I know? We know nothing. We go where we're told.
It will be soon. That's what this is. This episode is kind of the kickoff of episode 2. So it's coming. You know what I mean? Probably in the next couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
Cool.
It's coming. So
cool. And then our covers record, Ellison No Cover, that'll be out October. And our dear friend, Nights with Alice Cooper has been kind enough to kind of keep spinning some tracks. So we'll keep you posted as those come out. And Charlie played on a couple tracks on that, as well as a bunch of other. I think it's probably the best heavy hitter drummer record in a long time. I mean, we used to do the stuff with Metal Allegiance. We'd have a lot of, Charlie and
we got Charlie
and a bunch of guys, and
David McClain, Wheeler, Jimmy DeGrasso.
So. And actually, Charlie, I think, was the first one to lead the charge. He jumped in, as we were getting it going. So thank you for that, buddy. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks,
you're
Charlie.
welcome.
Yeah, we
you're welcome.
Your metal dorkiness will kick in. And we will
Totally,
be there for us.
all of the metal dorkiness kicked in.
Snake, what you got going right now? Besides, I know you're always got your hand in management stuff, but what else you got going on?
Well, I mean, I've been managing since 2006, which seems like a lifetime ago, and it kind of is. I've been managing the band Down since then. Philip Anselmo and Pepper Keenan
One
and
of my
Kirk
favorites.
And that for a long time took up a lot of our time. But they've taken a bit of a hiatus. They're actually gonna be doing one of those streaming live shows August 22nd. So we'll have more information out online as that progresses, as we get closer. But working on a new Skid Row record. We've had a new lead singer, another one for the last 4 years. A guy by the name of ZP Thart,
who is fucking amazing.
Yeah, thank you. From the band Dragon Force. Yeah. And so we're working on a new record right now. We're about halfway done with it. We're still writing, and I think we're doing what everybody's doing, just trying to work through, or attempting to work through, this whole pandemonium pandemic and be as creative as possible. I had the good fortune in doing an Iron Maiden track with Charlie, Transylvania, which was a blast, and I would love to do more things.
That was fun.
That is a hard song to play. I mean, maybe not to you metal gods, but to a bass player like me, it's a hard song to play.
It's a hard song. Look, man, I'm the idiot guitar player in the corner of the room, so it is not.
Please.
It's not simple, but it was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where Charlie and I have been friends for a long time, kind of from the same neck of the woods and stuff, and saw that he was doing these cover songs. And again, it goes back to the cover thing. And it was like, he was like, let's do a song together. I'm like, oh my God, it would be an honor. And so, we got to play together for the first time again in about 19 years. Last time we played together.
That's true.
Last time
Charlie has probably the most famous quarantine jam on YouTube. I mean, you've got some of the coolest tunes, the coolest people that you pull together. You don't do crappy performances. They're all very well done, and kudos to you.
The Fear one is fucking awesome, by the way. Charlie was talking about the Fear one a couple weeks ago, and I found that's fucking rad. They did a song with Lee Bing, which is so cool.
I'm working on the Go-Go's one now. I'm joking.
Well, you guys have been
Dude,
on
I'll
tour
play on
nonstop for the last 40 years, so it's good to take a break and just sit at home and do quarantine jams.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Here's
Man.
a question. Here's a question about the Judas Priest band. Has it been narrowed down yet, or?
I didn't think it started yet. This is just kind of the kickoff launch for nope. So I think they're going to start going up, in the next week or so. No, it hasn't even been narrowed down yet. Like it hasn't even really started yet. This is
okay.
The genesis. This is the kickoff right here of the whole episode. So
cool. They better be good because the Kiss ones were really good.
The Kiss ones were good. They were really good. So Juliya, so speaking of that, so what, you have a list or these people have already submitted? I mean, I don't even know because we're just kind of, all of us are sort of at the end. We're kind of the final judge. But as you do the process, I mean, look, there's obviously tribute bands all around the world. And
Right.
hey, speaking of which, we have another bass player in the room.
Mark Mendoza's here.
What's up, Mark?
I'm not a bass player.
You're not a bass player. Okay.
No, I spar with it. I don't play it.
we did a cover of Tear It Loose, and I tried to honor the spirit of your playing and the licks.
Hey, man, you did a great job. I mean, it's a great version of the song. It really was. Great version.
I couldn't find any tab because I was really, I want to dial in as close to the detail of your playing as possible. So I just kind of went for the spirit of it.
Was your bass broken after you did the track?
No, but I can break it real quick.
Well, no, but then that doesn't count. Then you weren't faithful to the original. Okay. All right, because it's not splinters.
Did not lay more eggs after he played it either, Mark.
That's true. That did happen.
Super good. So what are you up to, buddy? How are you?
Talking to you guys, man. Look, it looks like we're the Brady Bunch, but we're going to call it something else. I'm not going to be that mean, though. There's a lady present there, so I'm not going to be that cruel.
Be cruel.
You're out in New York.
Bring it on. Let's have some fun.
So I'm going to look up at Thom. Hey, man, what's up?
Blame it on
how you doing? Look, it's Mark Mendoza.
It's Thom upstairs. Brady Bunch.
So what have you been doing with since?
This has been my new mask.
There you go. What have you been doing since you guys kind of wound down touring? And I mean, I know you're still an active band, kind of not touring band, but sort of whatever.
We are an active band.
Well, I thought so.
Do you know something I don't know? If we're an active band?
Well, no. I mean, look. Let's face it. Are we ever an inactive band? I mean, I guess we kind of set stuff on the sides, but if there's, I know you're done touring. I mean, essentially, you've done your farewell and you're done. But what are you doing?
That's always
personally?
a lie. Everybody comes back. You guys
Everybody
can't
comes
sit
back?
still. Yeah, I mean, if
I've been
really
doing a
people
lot.
retire from music all the time, and then they're like, "I'm fucking bored. I'm going back to this thing."
I didn't hear a word she said. I thought it was good, but I mean, her expressions were really good, but I didn't hear anything. Steve, you turn that up a little bit? Thank you. Okay, so let's try this again. Somebody ask a question.
No, I was just asking, what are you doing? Like personally, what are you up to? Are you doing music stuff? Are you just kind of doing life stuff now? What are you doing?
I'll start. With recent past. Ever since Corona, not much. I've done some on stuff before that. I've done a lot of music stuff. A lot of it locally. Some big stuff. I'm on the verge of having my own band out, and it is called Animal Tactics.
Very cool.
Oh,
right?
cool.
Yeah. I've been talking about it for about 3 years. I went through some members. I have a core now that I've had for the last 3 years. So we're about ready to do some stuff and put together some songs. We've done some copy songs, and we haven't put anything out yet. But it will be in the near future. Obviously, we'll all be separate like everybody else is doing it. And you'll get to see something on a project that I've been working on for 3 years on and off. I've done a few things. Obviously, about a year and a half ago, myself and the Kanata brothers, you know them, Jordan and Jared Kanata.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You guys know them. We did for Christmas. We just wanted to be goofy. We did Deck the Halls. We did our own version. I know TS did it, but we did our own version, which was a lot of fun. It was a real holiday kind of spirit thing. And I don't know if you guys saw it at all, but you should look it up. Animal Tactics doing Deck the Halls. It's great stuff.
Should I do it now or should I wait till Christmas?
You can look up whatever you want to do. Also for the whole David Z thing, which went down about a week and a half ago. I know you guys know all about that. Also, I got together with Jared and Jordan Kanata and Paulie Z sang, and for David Z, we did "Rock the Nation." I don't know if you guys saw that at all. Which
That's
came
cool.
out great.
What a great song.
It was literally last minute. We threw it all together in a few hours and gave it to Paulie Z to put up that morning. So it was great stuff. So yeah, the nucleus of the band is myself and the Kanata brothers, which is great. And they live near me, so it's easy for us to get along. Even though right now, of course, everybody's just doing it online. We're not even hanging out together or anything.
I live near you. How come I'm not in a band?
Right?
Who are you?
My wife says hello, by the way.
Absolutely. You give her my best. No two ways about it. Meg, you want a shot at the title? I mean, what is it?
Come on, of course I want a shot at the title.
Yeah, you think you can handle it?
You know I can handle it.
I don't know anything. Thom, it's great to be on. I appreciate you inviting me tonight. I usually don't do too much of this stuff.
Yeah, and keep us posted. Keep us posted,
and especially all my contemporary friends right up there on that screen, man. I love all those guys. I really do. I'm a big fan of everything that goes on. I really am. I don't get a chance to say that too often.
Nice. Well, come back.
That's awesome.
As you get your record done, man, come back and we'll anything we can do to help you kind of launch it and kick it out there.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'll look up everybody and say, okay, remember when you said that to me? Now you're going to deliver. Because
we will make good on that.
if you don't, I'll be coming through your front door.
Come over and break my bass.
Well, I was heard you were having trouble finding a singer and you were doing some guest singer stuff. So hey, holler at your boy.
Things are actually going well. To tell you the truth, they really are. They're going well. We have done a bunch of things that haven't been put online yet, which we probably will release at some point or another. Just the three of us with other various singers, which actually turned out really good. So working on some releases, to be able to use the material and stuff. So and we all know how that goes. But yeah, it's great. That's mostly what I do. If Corona wasn't here now, COVID wasn't here now, I play in a bunch of bands locally. I mean, everything from, believe it or not, a rocking acoustic band to a jazz quartet to a country and western band and a local kind of blues rock band.
Wow.
They all work a lot. I'm not the main member, the main bass player, because I don't have time. I'm kind of like a second and third stringer. So, and I like it best that way. So I don't have to, if I can't do it, I could just say, no, I can't do it. So, but it's all a lot of fun. And that's basically what I've been doing. A big part of what I've been doing is what you guys are looking at right now is in my television studio. I'm here with part of my staff, and we have a network called Area 22 Productions, and we have a multitude of shows that we're putting on. It's still being developed, but it's great. We just picked up sponsors, and we've been working at this for quite some time. I have one show that's mine. It's called 22 Now. I interview a host of people, which all of you are going to be doing in the near future. Don't make me come looking for you because you're going to do it. Yeah, I will tell you what to do. But in any case, you'll all take a shot, man. Come on with me. Especially at this time, we can all do it from home or your studios or whatever. But it's just an interview show, and it's a lot of fun, and it's I've had a host of people on, whether they're business people, whether they're attorneys, whether they're entertainers. I had Greg Smith on last week, and we grew up together. So it went on for like 2.5 hours. We didn't stop. It's a lot of fun. Nice. It really is. It's a lot of fun. So we've been working on that an incredible amount. And like I said, if we didn't, in the middle of this Corona mess, we would have been putting on live shows in various places. But now that everything's shut down, especially here, it's completely shut down. It's still shut down, even though some bars are open. We can't do that. So we've been restricted
bars
to
at
basically.
Home, baby.
What's that?
The bars at home.
Yeah.
I just want to leave this comment up for the rest. The 5 of you would make a killer metal band. Can we do that, please? I mean, I don't know. We pulled off with 2 bass players, but we could figure it out, I'm sure.
Julie and Thom.
Like I said, I'm not a bass player.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
an MMA artist with a guitar.
I can be a bitch.
So I'm at the point in my life where my kids are stealing my old shirts now. So, right?
Nice.
Me too.
I mean, at least they like the same kind of music.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm at a point in life now where my nieces don't want to know what my old shirts are. No. What does this mean? I don't want to wear this. Yeah. Good old Uncle Marky.
Guys, I want to interject real quick. I'm actually at my family dinner right now. You know, my Russian parents. This is their kitchen, not my house. Quite colorful in here. I have to sign off shortly, unfortunately, but I think what would be really, really cool is if we have cover tribute bands of your bands, and then we'll see how you judge them.
Yeah, right.
That's a good idea.
So we can do a Twisted, Megadeth, Skid Row, Anthrax.
Right.
All right, that's cool. Challenge.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I
They
have
ain't
a
able
long
to do anything, let alone be in a
Let me
cover band
just
anymore.
say that I go to karaoke and I sing the fuck out of Skid Row for the last like 20 years. So
Right on. You want a job?
In his
Yeah,
leather
I do.
pants, by the way. I have a
ZP,
pair of
let
pants.
me tell you this.
I've
ZP is
remember
the
that
first
pair-
singer I've seen
that-
in Skid Row that I didn't go, I could do it better than him.
Oh wow.
I mean,
Wow.
not.
That's high praise, man.
Yeah, so no, I love it, dude. I have seen you guys 6, 7 times with him, and every time I'm just like,
How about
Holy
when you do it, we all do this, and we could criticize all
Yeah.
of your singing skills.
I can take it. I can take it.
Instead of judging, it'll be only judgment.
Yes, judgment. With no filter, with no mask on, no filter.
I gotta split, guys. But
All right, everybody.
too.
We've been on for an hour, so thanks so much, everybody, for joining. Mark, it's great to see you. Snake, awesome
Julia,
to see you.
Thank you.
Julia,
Thank you guys
Charlie,
so much.
thank you, everybody.
I'm honored to have you guys part of the show. Rock on.
Thank
I
you.
love you guys. I respect
Thank you
you
so
guys,
much.
and I'm so grateful we could work on this together. It means the world to me.
Rock and roll.
everybody, stay safe.
Yep. Thanks.
Stay
We'll
safe,
rally
drink
again.
at home.
See you, everybody. See you.
Bye,
Drink
guys.
at home. Bye bye.
Well, that was fun, man.
That was cool. That was good. All right, everybody.
So
Well,
now it's
we're gonna-
so look at this. The Three Stooges are left.
the Three Stooges are left.
The
Yeah.
Three Stooges.
Because we have nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Here, I'll
We're
put Jericho-
freaking losers.
It's the reality of
Jericho's
it.
chair back in
We
there.
got Jericho's
Jericho
chair,
back
yeah, with his Metallica box set in the background. And his
What's the blank screen there? Who's that?
That is Chris Jericho's office. He didn't disconnect, so he left and went out with his family. And it's so funny. So I'm just looking at his office. I have like a surveillance camera on Jericho's office now.
Oh, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
That's too funny.
But Dave, you did a really great job.
Thank you, man.
You guys, the song sounded great. What an aggressive version of the song. I've seen a couple of copy bands do it, and it was so well. I'm talking to pros, but and you can't say, hey man, that version really sucked.
Yeah.
But you guys did a great version.
Thank you. I think
really-
as we were doing it, and we literally, Thom and I were talking, literally probably the first week of June, this whole idea came up to us. I had just gotten home. I was in Nashville cutting the bass and drum tracks for the Megadeth record.
Sure.
That'll come out next year. So as we were doing it, we just started, we had an original record of Ellefson solo songs. We're originally going to put that out in October, and we thought, what, there's no use just throwing that away because that's what will happen since you can't tour and support it. So
Right,
we're
you
gonna
can't tour on it. Of
kick that
course.
down the road till next year, and that's when this whole cover thing came up, and we were talking about doing a Twisted song, and Tear It Loose came up, and I remember I was driving down the freeway, and I just was refreshing my memory with it, listening to it, and that clearly was the one to do. And I think all the songs that we did on this record, because a lot of them are songs, of course, we did, Def Leppard and things we did when we were much younger, probably in our little, our own little cover bands, as we were teenagers and whatnot. And, we could barely play them then. And of course, now being professionals, we've gotten a little better and we can play them better and we know how to make records properly. And it was, there's kind of two ways to do covers. I know like in Megadeth, we've done covers and we would almost do kind of parodies of them. And it was intentional to take an old song like These Boots Are Made for Walking from Nancy Sinatra and kind of, make it a thrashy version. What I find with a lot of metal bands today is they detune, they really try to do this kind of, how do we out metal the next band? And that to me is not what we wanted to do here. We wanted to do real, proper, true representations, like this is Twisted Sister going in the studio.
Pretty faithful to the original. We didn't down.
Yeah, we really wanted, all the notes, the performances. I mean, we really wanted to dial these up and make these, to be respectful to the, to you on Tear It Loose. And that's why as the bass parts, it was, again, I was looking online for tab. I mean, anything to like get it as perfect if there's any question.
As far as the chords and the chord changes and progression, it's a simple song.
Yeah.
What is difficult was when we first played the song, when we first put it together, I always felt it wasn't aggressive enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I turned to AJ and I said, man, pummel through the song, man. Because I want to say it wasn't really much of a lighter song. It just wasn't as aggressive when we first rehearsed it. Mm-hmm. And I said, just go through it, man. Just put a drum intro on it and power through the song. Yeah. And that's how it came out. So I also envision also doing that song in Animal Tactics. And in Animal Tactics, there's one guitar player, obviously one bass player. So I think there'll be a lot more riffing in the song as we're putting it together. Yeah. And of course, I have great musicians with me that help carry me. No, they're great. They're great guys and great musicians. But yeah, there'll be a lot more playing. But what it is you played the song faithful to the original and as aggressive and powerful. So, and you are certainly no whip in the industry as the bass players go. Without a doubt, man, you're right up there at the top. So if I heard that you were playing on something and it was any less than that, I would be knocking on your door, maybe not even knocking on it, coming through the door, saying you didn't do it justice. But you definitely did much more than justice on the song.
And that one came up.
Without a doubt. You got a big thumbs up from me.
Nice, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And that one came up because, I kept going, let's do a Twisted song. And I was talking to Eddie Ojeda. And I was like, dude, we're going to do a Twisted song. You want to play on it? And originally we were talking about doing Under the Blade and Eddie said, dude, let's do Tear It Loose. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. Because it's kind of that original new wave of British heavy metal era that we touch on a lot. And it's such an aggressive song. But we went through like a list of songs. Look, I love Stay Hungry. I kind of wanted to do Burn in Hell but again, Eddie brought up Tear It Loose. And I'm like, God, man, that's perfect. Like just the ties to the early period of the band. And just that there's something. I've watched the movie, the documentary, probably 200 times now, and just that whole period to me is so special, man. That early Under the Blade.
Yeah, if I wasn't in the band, I'd be a fan. There's no two ways about it, especially of the early stuff. But let me just give you a little history here on something. It was so funny that there was a Twisted tribute album about, I guess, back in early 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002, and Motorhead did Shoot 'Em Down. I don't know if you guys ever heard it. Great version with Motorhead doing. And then I remember just about 6 months later, we were in Europe and I was hanging out with Lemmy. And Lemmy had asked me, hey, man, I can't imitate him. So would you mind if we did Tear It Loose live? And I said, are you kidding?
Nice.
No. I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wanted to do Tear It Loose also.
Wow.
Can you imagine Motorhead doing Tear It Loose?
I can imagine that.
Yeah, it'd be bludgeoning.
It's
it'd
right
be great.
in that vein. In fact, you guys, there's a great cover you guys did live from the marquee of Tear It Loose.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember mixing that one. Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah.
And we actually did a Motorhead cover with Doro on the record, too. We did Love Me Like a Reptile with Doro. Me and Doro sing it, and that was fun, too, man. It's cool. A lot of the stuff on this record is sort of that period. It's like old Def Leppard. We did Wasted. We did Motorhead. We did Twisted.
Sure.
We did Queen. We did, what else? We did Wasp. A lot of, we did BTO. There's a lot of really cool, varied stuff on this record, man. It's sweet. Yeah.
In Animal Tactics, we're actually doing a handful of covers because, again, my idea was, immediately once the band's formed, go out and play. And if you do all originals, people go spend the time in the bathroom or smoking a cigarette.
Right.
You know,
Totally,
but if you do some songs that they recognize, they actually pay attention. So we've got a whole bunch of very unique copies and versions of songs that once we start playing, you have no idea it is until you listen to the vocals and you go, I'm singing along with this song and I have no idea what it is. But yeah, there's some very changed songs that we picked up on. And of course, you know, growing up in the music industry the way I did, my history goes all the way back to loving 50s, you know, and even swing music, because, you know, my parents were heavily into swing and that whole 40s and World War II era of music. So, and I've always picked up on all of it. So, not that we're doing swing music, we're not, but, you know, some things on different feels, but it all rocks. There's no lightweight. It's all monster, you know, big heavy stuff, big monster notes and things like that. So, but when we originally did, let me go back to something with Dave. When we originally did Tear It Loose and the song got aggressive like that, we were doing a rehearsal one day and JJ wasn't there right away, and we rehearsed the song, and I actually played a lot of riffs in the song with AJ. Every one of his drum roll riffs was something crazy on bass. And
Nice.
I didn't do it on the album. I really didn't do it live. I'm in a 2-guitar band. There's no room, you know.
I
And when
know.
you get live,
Yeah.
all it does is sound like a, you know, and I don't want that. So a lot of the stuff is root notes. And you did, like I said, I'll do one more time. You did a great job, man. You plowed right through it, and I am proud of you.
Thank you, brother. You know what? You're right. You know, it's funny. I played with Ronnie Montrose for a couple years, and
One of my favorites.
yeah, and the two first shows I played with him, we opened for Def Leppard, and the Def Leppard guys put Ronnie on the bill because they were huge fans of his, and they just came in and they were like fanboying. Joe Elliott and Phil Collin came in and they were just fanboying all over Ronnie. And I'm standing there just kind of going, you know, I grew up a Def Leppard fan. When that first Def Leppard record came out, I was like 15, you know, I was pretty young, and they were young. They were only like 16, 17 years old themselves, you know. So it was kind of cool, this circle of fandom, you know, between all of us. But you're right. I say the same thing all the time. You know, I'm in a 2-guitar band with Megadeth. And so you're kind of bookended by the guitars. And you're right, the bass can only do so much. But playing with Ronnie, with Montrose, I mean, he said, he goes, look, play the song like it is. When I hit the solo, I'm taking off. I'll see you guys later. And I'll kind of hint back at the riff when I'm ready to come back in. We'll finish out with the chorus and wrap the tune up. And that was one of those bands that I had so much fun because, you know, for most of my life, again, like you, playing in a 2-guitar band, it was fun to step out and just riff and play. And the drummer, who was actually in Megadeth with me for a few years, Jimmy DeGrasso, he said to me after the first couple of shows, he goes, dude, I didn't even know you could play like that, because I guess I'd only heard you, you know, in Megadeth. And I said, oh, yeah, I mean, like you, I grew up playing in jazz band and swing band and, you know, all that stuff. And as, you know, it's funny,
type of music, sure.
As bass players, we get to go to a lot of different places that, you know, maybe professionally we're not as known for from our fans, but you know, we've done our homework as bass players over the years. And even like this covers record was the same thing, getting to play in all these different kinds of, like the Sweet song that we did, we covered Sweet F.A. I mean, Steve Priest, who just passed last month, I was a huge fan of his playing, that band, and also his playing. Oh man, as a singer, as a player, just a great bass player. So same thing, 1-guitar band too.
No. Just going on about Sweet, I remember when their songs came out originally, and they were heavy for the time.
Totally.
You know, I mean, you know, Fox on the Run. You think of the drums and the bass in that song, and it was heavy, man. It really was. It was heavy for a hit song, you know, and it rocked. There's no two ways about it. But I'm in a local band here. Again, we're not playing now because of stuff, and you know, my producer's getting mad at me for talking about certain things. But I'm in a local band called Joe Rock and the All Stars, and it's not a metal band at all, or a hard rock for the most part. We do some heavy stuff because it works out that way, but it's a 1-guitar band. It's a singer that plays rhythm guitar, and you know, the second guy, the other guitar player, plays all the leads, and a drummer, and that's it. There's 4 guys. Yeah. And the guy who put the song, the actual band together, Joe Rock, he's been a great friend of mine for many, many years, and he's an incredible radio talent. He's an on-air talent on a station here on Long Island called WBAB, and knows his history in music. But he encourages the band to play crazy. maybe not over his vocals, but when it's time to go, he says, he don't even say anymore, just go.
Go, yeah.
Just do it. And it is insane. And the one thing I get is people come down, all TS fans and Dictator fans and everything else I've done, and go, man, I never knew you played bass like that. Well, no, I don't do that in TS. I do it in most other things, whether it's slap or aggressive or jazz, but you put it to rock. Whatever you do, you're doing it in that style. So yeah, I got a lot of kudos about that, and I can't be as rough on the basses because they're not set up high action and big bridge cables for strings,
Right.
so it's set up regular, and you can really articulate and do a lot of things and get things going. So I get a lot of that stuff, but I know you can too, Dave. I know. I've seen everything. I watch everything. Don't think I'm not watching and listening. I am, man. Big fan of yours. That's why I keep saying it.
Well, it's funny you say that. And by the way, Snake, pay attention. The next band you formed, only one guitar player, okay? Because you heard it from two bass players, right?
Wait, I need two in order to cover up all my foibles, man.
You don't. Us bass players will cover a multitude of sins, believe me.
Yeah, I cover for everybody, all the time. It's a very funny thing. And Dave, you get to what you're doing. Whenever we were touring and playing on stages, no matter what, even in clubs, if something happened to my bass and it stopped, D would go, the band stopped.
Yeah.
D would say, I don't care what else I hear, the band stopped playing.
Yeah. Funny, I remember Gene Simmons said that in a Bass Player magazine interview. He said, without bass, you ain't got heavy. And he's right. It's funny. As much fun as I love sitting around even playing guitar when I write at home, when I'm on stage, there's no other instrument that I'd rather play than the bass because you can just feel it in the room. It's a feeling that you have. Whether it's a small club or a big arena, whatever it is, you can feel it.
Bass is
you
so
when
physical.
It's not there.
Bass is so physical, and that's what does it for me. That's why the bass. But going to one other thing, and then we'll move on. Going to one other thing is Ronnie Montrose. I remember when the first Montrose album came out. I think I was in junior high school, and it ruled for everybody. I mean, those songs on that album. If you played guitar, bass, or drums, or especially sang like Sammy, then you were a great musician. You could get the job done. Not that it was overly fancy or anything like that, but that album and those songs gelled so well as rock musicians and production and everything like that. It's tough to top that one for what it was.
And it's funny you mentioned that because now we've got the history of that. Ted Templeman produced that record, and Ted was brought in to produce the first Van Halen record, and pretty much carbon copied that production. One guitar. And very few overdubbed solos, pretty much one guitar, and live in the room type of recording. And so everything we loved about that first Van Halen record, of course, that was about maybe 6, 7, 8 years later when they finally recorded that record. But it was pretty much the template from that first Montrose record.
Yeah.
And I remember when we the first time I met Sammy, we were playing a Megadeth was on a bill with Sammy, solo Sammy. In San Jose, and it was a radio show. And I remember when we met Sammy, me and Dave were just fanboying on that first Montrose record with him because, a lot of people don't know that first Montrose record, that was Sammy's first record. And
no two ways about it. I know it well.
Yeah.
No
and
Sammy's
book was great because he talks a lot about
Sammy
that,
I don't know Sammy at all. I've never met hI'm certainly a big fan of everything he's done, including his solo stuff. Yeah. But that first Montrose album, if you told me I could only have 10 albums, 10 CDs, that would be one of them. There's no two ways about it. It's great stuff. And talking about Ronnie Montrose, I saw one of his last gigs that he played at B.B. King. And then he passed away, I want to say about 2 months later.
Wow.
And I hadn't seen him in years. And you know what disappoints me a lot about the people and the musicians and bands that I love is when you go see them years later, they're not faithful to their original songs. They do massively different versions. And I have to say that a friend of mine said, you got to go. It's Montrose. I said, you know what? I'm just afraid I'm not going to be happy with it. Yeah. I went, and he was faithful to the original songs and the musicians, and the singer was great. Sounded like Sammy.
St. John.
And
it's funny. I played B.B. King's with Ronnie probably a couple years earlier because I hadn't played with him since probably 2009. And then, then he obviously when you saw him was a few years after that when he had passed.
I didn't know the musicians in his band when he played BB King the last time.
Yeah. I remember Eddie Trunk came down because Eddie's a big Montrose fan, and he came down.
Without a doubt.
Came down
and then I didn't intend on. I go to shows. I've seen all of you guys live. I go to the show and then I leave. I don't knock on the backstage door. I don't do anything. I don't like to come in and, I'm here. I don't do any of it. I can't tell you. I've seen all of you live a bunch of times. And I had no intention of bothering Ronnie or the guys in the band. The singer recognized me. When they were finished, he came right out from the backstage area. We were still sitting there. The friends of mine, they were still having a couple of drinks. And he says, "You got to come back. Ronnie Montrose knows you're here. You got to come back and say hello." I said, "Really? I'm not here for that." He goes, "It'd be great. All the guys want to meet you." So I went and I finally met Ronnie Montrose. I was meeting one of my heroes, really, from close to the beginning of what rock music meant to me. And when he passed away, it was so sad. It was like I got to see him do his thing, faithful to the original album, or really close to it. And I was glad that I went. I have to say it. And it's a shame that he's not with us anymore. But he was one of my faves. There's no two ways about it. And the fact that was Sammy's first real-time big band that he was in, what an incredible job. It really is. And, I don't want to harp on the subject, but that meant a lot to me, to see Ronnie Montrose and have him do those songs close to faithfully. It means a lot. And listen, I could talk from experience. TS goes out. We play the songs the way they were done in the 80s. We really haven't changed anything around. That's what people want to see. I mean, you all do the same thing.
We do the same thing, just
you
playing
play
like
the
they are
songs
on the
faithfully.
record.
It's what your fans want to hear and they want to see. So that's what we do, and it's a great idea.
Yep,
it's a great
I agree.
idea. All right,
Guys, I hate to break up. I hate to interrupt the love fest here, but I got to roll.
Well, thank you, Snake, for joining us.
You're not going anywhere.
Just remember, one guitar player in your next band.
Oh, hell yeah, we want you here.
Thank you guys so much.
It's great to see you, dude.
Such a
Next
pleasure.
time we'll talk again. We'll talk again.
Be safe, guys.
Yep,
Please.
see you.
Too.
Thank you, brother.
All
All
right.
right. Well, look, I'm going to sign off as well. Mark, it's great to see you, man, and thank you for checking the record. And I agree with you on. I'll just close with this on a couple things. I said the same thing to Thom. When we go out and do my solo stuff, it's new music, and it's great to have cover songs because it's one less bathroom break for the audience because they're like, if they get bored, and obviously you play a cover. So now we've got this covers record coming out. So thank you for giving us a great song to play live. And we're actually going to go out and do a couple shows. We're going to try them at least at the end of October down in Texas and Louisiana with Saliva. And again, I guess it's a go until it's not, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Hopefully it'll work out to do it, but we're going to go try to.
Well, we got paid. So as of now, it's a go.
It's a go. Yeah, no, exactly. It's always, say yes. It's always a go until it's not. So,
well, Dave, whatever you do, and I can be there, I will, and you'll never know it. Unless you really want
But if I hear you're there, you're there, you're coming back, just like Ronnie Montrose.
All right, I will from now on.
Yeah, I will point you out and I'll go, holy shit, it's Mark Mendoza. Get back here.
He's here.
Well, it's good talking with you, Dave. Maybe we'll talk again in the near future, man.
Okay, buddy. See you, buddy.
I'll give you a call.
Thank you, guys.
See you later. Yep,
right.
Thank you. All right, Thom, that was great, man. Another successful stream.
I know, right? We always manage to pull it. They always get more and more fun. No matter what, we pull it out of our asses, and it's always great.
Yeah. And you always get great people to come on and chat. So,
dude, I'm just surrounded by Twisted Sister memorabilia, though. That's how I roll.
It's almost like you're in the band or on the crew or something.
I'm in SMF.
Yeah, Donna, 12 months till Megadeth Lamb of God. Can you believe that? It's a year away. It's unreal.
How crazy. It's supposed to be right now.
I know. So, but yeah, Thom and I are going to go. We're going to do the Ellefson solo band in the dates are now posted.
It's October 30th in San Antonio's the one. I don't know if the other ones are announced yet, even, but I know October 30th.
I saw them. They were announced. Yeah, I saw them.
I should know this shit.
Repost it. Yeah, it's like what, 29, 30, 31, something like that, or 30, 31, November 1st, something like that. So, yeah, it's Louisiana and then two shows in Texas. So I'll pop that out. I actually saw something on Instagram. I'll push that out. So, but yeah, we're mixing. We've mostly got the album mixed now. Alessio is away for a few days on a vacation. His ears must be smoking. Our engineer Alessio and Andy Martingelli, the two of them are two Italians, and Brothers in Arms. They've been working really hard. We've been getting the mixes done. Mayor Applebaum is actually mastering today. He's mastering songs, and Nights with Alice Cooper have been so kind to play songs for us. They just played Wasted the other night, and so we got that. And obviously, you just heard Free Will Burning from Judas Priest. So the record's coming along. It's really been it's been a labor of love, man. Me and Thom talked several times a day about it. In and around his heart attack, we still talk about this record.
My sheer heart attack.
Sheer heart attack. How ironic we would cover that song.
The pure cardio. I literally, I texted Bumblefoot when I was in the hospital. That was really the first thing. I woke up and I texted Bumblefoot. I'm like, so how ironic is it that a week ago I sang Sheer Heart Attack and now I just had one? And then he immediately called me and he's like, what? And it was kind of funny.
Did Charlie play on that track? Did Charlie?
Charlie did. Charlie played on Sheer Heart
Charlie
Attack, Holiday in Cambodia, and what was the third one he played on? Sheer Heart Attack, Holiday in Cambodia.
We did Riff Raff when Lombardo played on.
No, oh yeah, Cheap Trick is the third one that he played on. Cheap Trick. Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah. Which is super cool because should we say it? We actually have a guest vocalist on that.
No, yeah, well, it's announced. Al Jorgensen from Ministry is on.
Yeah, Al Jorgensen from Ministry.
It's awesome.
Yep, I literally was over at his house a couple weeks ago, and so he and I are doing some fun musical collaborations, which is really super fun. And so it was so awesome. I love Al. Obviously, we're all big fans of Ministry, so it was fun to. And Al's a good buddy, man. I love him. He and I have always gotten along well. So it's great to have him singing on this record with us. And Todd Kearns from Slash's band sang on the Sweet track, Sweet FA. And
Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys sang at Free Will Burning. Actually, he sang on.
And Tom's got one other little trick up his sleeve that when he played it for me and laid it on me, I'm like, oh my God. And Tyson Leslie, who just jumped in here for a minute to say, hey, the two of those two guys got a little trick up their sleeves that
we do. And I literally hit him. I hit up Tyson. I'm like, I haven't mentioned this to David yet, but I want to do this song. Will you do the keys and kind of lay it out for me to sing it? And I sent it to David, and he was like, oh my God. So
it's unbelievable. And one of the things we wanted to do with this covers record is obviously not do the typical, we're not playing Cold Gin, Breaking the Law, Walk by Pantera. We're not doing all your kind of what we would consider bar standards, the kind of standard cover songs you would hear by, a lot of cover bar bands playing. Hey, I played them myself in Metal Allegiance and even as a kid growing up. So we tried to stay away from the obvious. So believe me, this last little Easter egg that Thom and Tyson are working on is far from the obvious, and it is so friggin' cool, man. So it's great.
Awesome.
So we'll have that done, and album will be finished and completely mixed in the next couple of weeks. But it's pretty
and if you haven't heard
done.
Wasted yet, you can go find it. It's all over YouTube and Facebook now.
And you're putting this stuff up on Bandcamp, right? Aren't you putting it up on Bandcamp?
Yeah, in a couple of weeks it'll be up on Bandcamp. Yeah, I'm going to put Wasted and Free Will Burning up on Bandcamp tonight, actually, so people can go buy it. So if you want to go buy it, donate to our cause, help us get this record made. You can also go to our Indiegogo page and pre-order the record and some swag. Some of David's gear is up there, some experiences, lessons, and videos with David and whatever. I mean, all kinds of, but it's bit.ly/Ellefson no cover IGG. I just posted it in here. I'll do it again. bit.ly/Ellefson no cover IGG. So there it is. Go check it out. Support us, please, making these records. And it's not cheap, and we do it all by our damn selves. Just for you.
This truly is a DIY. We're literally doing a fundraiser.
So DIY, dude, like beyond.
It is. DIY. It is. And our friends have been so cool. Everybody, we all played on this record for free. I mean, everybody just did it out of the kindness of their heart to just have something to do here in our lockdown and our pandemic. So it's just, it's just really great. And look, it's like starting a band. There's costs involved in it. So it's pretty fun. So
especially a cover record, because we had to pay like a lot of money. You have to license all the songs. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not like it's a huge extra expense when you make a record like this, because every individual song you have to license the rights to record it, You do,
and that's interesting. In fact, I sat on a music business panel at a college a couple years ago, and there was an attorney who actually educated me a little bit on this, because you can go, and people ask us this all the time. So live, you can go play any song you want. You can cover anybody's song live anywhere because of BMI, ASCAP, CSAC. There's these performing rights societies that they collect from any live music venue, bar, restaurant, concert hall, whatever. They collect from they pay a fee to these societies, so that any cover band can, if you're sitting down eating a burger at the local bar and they're playing music, the artists, we are getting paid for that. But when you record it, you actually do have to go out and pay for a license. So we and Thom, as we kept, again, our little 5-song EP turned into an 18-song, basically double disc. So we went out and, you got to buy that and pay for that. So that,
and it might have to be. I don't even know yet. I haven't timed it out to see. It might not even fit on one CD. It might end up having to be a fucking double disc. We'll see.
I don't think it will. And of course, we'll have a couple that'll probably be digital only.
Exactly. A couple of the bonus tracks, but it's 72 minutes can fit on a CD, but whatever. I mean, the reality is, if it's a double CD, it's a fucking double CD. So is Sleeping Giants. Apparently, that's our thing, is double CDs.
Double CDs. Yep, exactly. Hey, you know what? Double live albums were always what turned me on to bands, whether it was Kiss Alive. It's funny, Judas Priest Unleashed in the East was only a single album, but it's like, for the most part, most of them were all double, Frampton Comes Alive, Grand Funk, whatever. They were all double albums. So I'm a big fan of the double album thing, man.
Yeah, me too. Oh, and Karen, by the way, you can. So Facebook has this thing called Stars now, where you can buy them and support our videos. So if you ever want to do that, please feel free. We are set up to accept it. And again, if you dig our videos, we don't really charge for them, but hey, you can, if you want to support us, again, you can always do it via our Indiegogo, go support the record, or you can support it on Facebook via their Stars program, which again is just pay. So you can kind of tip content creators for their videos and their live feeds or whatever they do. So,
yeah. Hey, by the way, back to the KK Downing thing. Phil Andre, who the Motley Brew, he's our coffee vendor over in the UK, takes Ellefson coffee out to the festivals, and he actually commented the song that Judas Priest had never played live before was Before the Dawn.
Yep, I actually said that before, but you must have missed it. That was when everybody. Speaking of which, we didn't mention it. Skid Row, you can go buy Skid Row Slave to the Grind coffee from EllefsonCoffeeCo.com too. It didn't even come up when Snake was here, but
yeah. And EllefsonCoffeeCo.com, by the way. So I am actually autographing all the bags. I'm taking those, stuffing them myself. I put a little pick card in there for you. So just through the summer here for the next, month or two, I'm home.
Dave called me one day. He's like, you know what? I'm going to start fulfilling the coffee orders. I'm like, all right.
Because then I can sign them. Yeah. So I'm doing that. And, so that's so anyway, it kind of gives me something to do. Me and my son, Roman's our supply chain manager now. So since he went to college.
He's the logistics manager, Roman Ellison. I love it. Yes, Melody Myers and Roman Ellison, our team.
Yeah, Melody's taking clerking orders. Roman's, yeah, exactly. So it's a family business here between all of us. So
that's a travesty that Iron Maiden never did Invaders live, because that's a great fucking song.
Isn't it? And in fact, I had read something about kind of the making of the Number of the Beast, and I think Steve had said that was one song that he was kind of the least happy with. I think it was Steve that said it, that it was kind of like and yet.
Yeah, honestly, to me, that album is flawless front to back. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but
me too.
Number of the Beast, God.
And especially, right out of the gate, the bass licks. I mean, as a bass player, that's what we waited for when we bought Maiden records, So thank you, Lady of Justice. Appreciate it.
By the way, you can order the coffee. I think there's a
yes. On EllefsonCoffeeCo.com, there is a click through, because we have a roaster in the UK. So things will ship over there. I think it's a click through that goes. Isn't it a click through, Thom?
Yeah, I think so. It's a separate, totally separate company that roasts it and ships it. But you can. I think there's a link on the site. Otherwise, yeah, you can find it.
Yep. So we can. So we do have a roaster over there that'll do all that, and the orders are processed, and so you should be good. So, Gangland, is that what it was? Okay, so I'm corrected. He said Gangland was his least favorite. All right, now I guess that was the one.
Whatever. I still like Gangland too, but whatever.
Me too. All of them.
No, literally, honestly, I don't think there's an Iron Maiden record through Seventh Son of a Seventh Son that I don't love front to back. There's really not.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's all good. Anyway, all right, kids, we're gonna sign out here, I think. But thank you for joining us again. Please go pick up the No Covers. You can pre-order. There's a ton of exclusive merch, and you can get some of David's basses, gear, some other shit. Again, all the money goes to support us making this record and putting it out and bringing it to you guys. So thank you again for joining us tonight.
Yep.
We love
I'm selling
you.
my own stuff to make the record.
There you go. Merch Direct. That's who does it. That is. David's taking one for the team, and he's selling his own gear to make this record.
Selling off some of my own stuff to pay for our record. That's DIY right there. Hey, but I'm committed. It's literally one of my favorite records I've ever made in my entire career. It really is. We've been just having so much fun with it, and it's just great to be just deep in it and, playing songs with my friends, obviously, all of us. And songs that quite honestly got me and Thom and all of us into this whole thing. It's the whole reason why we're even sitting here. That's what No Cover really is. It's all the songs that, or not all, but a bunch of songs that rocked our world. Yeah.
Yeah. So. And still do. And here we were tonight talking to a bunch of the guys that made those songs. And again, dude, Skid Row's one of my favorite bands. What a cool thing to even, every time we do this, it's cooler and cooler, man. I just fanboy out all the fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya. Have
Peace.
a good one. Thanks, Thom. See ya.